Hey, it's Scott from Scott on Security. Scott Beck, CEO of Beck Tech in Canada's cybersecurity firm, co-star of the Amazon Prime documentary Cybersecurity and a two-time best-selling author. All of that, and I can still get a Starbucks coffee for $10. Listen, this week we're talking about ransomware and the impact that it's been having. The reason I started having this talk is last week I was with some business owners and I just casually mentioned ransomware because to me, this has been a big deal. It's been around 6-7 years. It's been in the news. We've heard about lots of municipalities getting hit. The cost of ransomware going, from paying $40 to now we're seeing demands of ransom for thousands, hundreds of thousands, even now into the millions of dollars the ask of what the bad guys are saying, because the old way of ransomware was they got in, they infected all the files, and they said, hey, pay us. They didn't really know what they had. All they knew was the files were important to you and that you would most likely pay them to get access to the files back. Then they got a little bit craftier within the last couple of years, and now they get into the systems and they start nosing around. They see what type of data you have. How important is this data? And then they're putting a dollar value of importance on that. So that's why we're now starting to see demands into the thousands, hundreds of thousands of dollars. And if they detect you're a big company, naturally, those rates are going to go up of what they want to get paid. And like we talked about earlier this week, we're seeing 2-3 times out of 5, they kill the hostage anyways. You still don't get the files back. Uber is a great example of that. Uber had been hit, and they were told, pay us a bunch of money or we're going to start releasing the data. And they paid it, and guess what? The bad guys released the data on the dark web anyways. That actually ended up costing a couple of C-levels their jobs. But this is what we're now dealing with. Now, one of the interesting things with ransomware, there was a variation that came out, and it's been tweaked a bit now, that it was called popcorn time. Hey, sounds kind of fun, right? Popcorn? We all sit down, have that, watch a movie. Kind of devious why they called it that, because it really was a show to an extent, for the bad guys anyways. So how this played out is that you would click on a link or maybe landed at an affected website and your computer got infected with ransomware. You got a message that said, hey, all your files have been locked and you need to pay us anywhere from $50 to a couple $100 to get access to your files. Or you can send this virus, and they gave a link, out to your friends or acquaintances, and as soon as 3 of them click this identifiable link, we'll give you your files back for free. Whoa, mind-blowing, all right? Because you're sitting there going, I never do that. Wait a minute, maybe I can think of 3 people I don't like I can send this to. But sadly, I bet that actually was occurring. But the thing you got to think about this is you are now becoming complicit in the crime, all right? You may not have written the virus, you may not have be benefiting financially from the virus or the ransomware or getting any cuts of the money, but you knowingly spread that virus. So if it was ever being traced back, it would trace back to you. Now you would be complicit and on the hook for cybercrime that most likely you didn't even know how to write. Okay, but you sent the link out, and they were using your credibility or your relationship to then impact more people. Wow. Mind-blowing. So now the bad guys just had to get it out there enough that people would then start spreading the viruses for them and would multiply the chances of getting their money. And as I said, it was successful, so people were actually doing it and didn't stop to think. Especially imagine a teenager or a young adult getting this and going, I don't have $50. I'll just send this on to these 3 people I don't like, and hopefully they'll click the link. Or to get 3 people to click the link, maybe you had to send it out to 50, 60, or 70 people. Because remember, they were saying 3 people had to get infected from the personalized link in order for them to release your data. So you'd have to send it out to a lot more people, I would think. Because not everybody's going to click the link. Some people are going to be cyber smart and go, wait a minute, what's this about? Before they click it. So it was just a very devious trend, I thought, that they would use social engineering and peer pressure to help try to spread the virus to maximize the return of their time to have written the code to happen. So yet another variation of the classic ransomware that's been occurring. And there was another one that occurred not long ago, and this one's more devious. Homeland Security, the FBI, law enforcement in Canada, the RCMP, are just starting to really talk about it. Bad guys are getting in, right? I told you they're taking around and looking at their files. Bad guys tend to live on a network, if they're so inclined, for up to 200 days before a real attack happens. And you say, Scott, why are they there so long? What are they doing? Well, if they discover really good information, they've got the personal identifiable information of your clients, businesses, whatever the case is, or it's sensitive, something that's secretive that they don't want, that people wouldn't want to get out on the internet. They're stealing the data. They're uploading. They're taking the data out of the victim, putting it in the cloud or where they have access to it, and then they're launching the ransomware attack and sending the notice to the original company saying, hey, pay us to get access to your files again. But they've already got the files. They stolen them. We saw this with a law firm down in Atlanta. It happened not this Christmas, but the Christmas before. It happened just before, I think it was Christmas Eve when it first started. They were able to recover their data. It took like 2 weeks because they had so much. It's something else most people don't stop and think about. Even if you've got good backups, you still have to get the data off the backups and back into your system. And it can take hours and hours. I mean, we've had clients that servers crash and we've had to get their data back, and it can take 5-6 hours. It's just something you got to factor in. So when we're talking ransomware, and yes, you can get access back to your files, it can still take hours. And depending how much data you have, in the case of this law firm, it's like 2 weeks. So 2 weeks later, they're back up and running. They haven't paid the ransom. You start getting emails. Hey, notice you haven't bothered to pay the ransom. So listen, here's what we're going to do. We're going to start releasing so many megabytes or gigabytes of data, but we're going to start releasing, let's use numbers so it's easier to talk about. We're going to start releasing 500 of your client's personal information online every week until you pay us. Wow. Ransomware just turned into bribery. What did this law firm have to do? Well, it became clear that the data was already outside. It's been breached. It's gone. They themselves had to turn around and hire another law firm that specializes in cybercrime. They had to start notifying all their clients. They had to start talking to the insurance companies. I mean, this became a big, big deal. Ransomware is bad enough, and it can be nerve-wracking enough, and it has a big impact to the bottom line. Even if you can recover, you got a lot of downtime associated with this. So that's why it's always best to try to keep this stuff out and put protections in place. We're going to talk about protections tomorrow. But you got to be doing this, because in the case of this law firm, talk about a heavy hit to the reputation. And this law firm wasn't small. I'm not going to say names, but they had several lawyers, a lot of administration staff, and they were doing millions and millions in revenue. Big firm. And now they have to contact everybody, send out those letters. Somebody's got to do that. There's a cost associated with that. You had to tell all your clients that you weren't good stewards of their data. You've been breached, and it could be showing up online. That's the bottom line. The bad guys have got the information, and they could be putting that online. And that is private. Can you imagine if you're involved in a dispute, whether it be a divorce or contract law or whatnot, and your information is going to be getting out there? Maybe the case hasn't even been settled yet, and now the other side's going to know all about your stuff. I mean, it's scary when you stop and start breaking that down, what the impact of this event was on them. And we're starting to see that more. The bad guys are getting in. They're stealing the data before they even tell you that the breach has occurred, which is why having something called breach detection becomes so important, so you can close that window of the amount of damage. But we'll get more into that tomorrow about protections of things that you can put in place to minimize these risks. That's it for today. Thank you for joining me on this journey on Scott and Security, and stay safe out there.